What's up, y'all? I thought I'd make a quick video. I tried making this video. I tried making it January 1st. I tried making it January 1st. It didn't work. Apparently, you can't make anything longer than an hour and a half on my Chromebook. Again, not the best camera in the world. I don't care if that's potato. I deal with what I got. So I thought I do this video again, but I do it more close to the more important date, that being January 20th, 2025, being the inauguration of the new President of the United States of America, being Donald J. Trump? Donald John Trump, something like that. Donald Trump. I wanted to make this video kind of on my concerns in regards to some friends of mine. No offense to them. I love my friends. I love the folk who are not even, who are within the states, who are not within the states. But it brought up some concerns. The problem is a lot of them are big complainers. They're probably the biggest complainers I've heard when it comes to complaining about American politics. Now, if you don't know already, I'm Christian. I'm an independent conservative. I'm a very patriotic guy. And I'm a no-nonsense type guy. I don't care that these friends of mine, I have a lot of them, most of them are from Europe, but I have one that's from Canada, and I have one from Poland, and those are the two people I'm mostly focused on. Obviously, I'm not going to say any names, but I'm just going to point out that these are the two people who are probably the biggest complainers of American politics, and probably the most left-leaning, liberal-ish type leaning when it comes to when I've had to try to have conversations with them, which didn't end up working out. So, about me, I'm an independent conservative. I hold firm to the idea that ever since I even thought about politics, before I even got into politics, but when I was hearing all the crap during the 2016 election, I knew that if at some point I had to get involved in politics, I was going to be neutral, regardless. I absolutely despise the idea of having to kiss the rear end, bootlicking, mind you, the left or the right. Just you only vote left because they're left, or you only vote right because they're right. Whatever have you. And this is kind of focusing on those two friends in regards to that. So, I have tried to have conversation with them, but I've been very cautious because I have this personal belief that if you're not from the States, if you do not live in the States, the only exception being military and diplomatic personnel, if you do not live in the States, if you're not a citizen of the United States and you do not vote in the United States, if you're missing one of those three, you have no right to complain about the elections. Because if you don't voice your opinion, you cannot complain about the good or bad that happens that you may or may not like. You can't. It sounds stupid, probably the way I sounded, but you know what I mean. The way I said it, you know what I mean. And the biggest problem I have with these friends of mine, again, no offense to them, I love them dearly, is I just can't help but feel they're just heavily biased. Like, heavily biased. And that's the main reason why I'm especially against people from other nations trying to complain about American politics and how, we should be ashamed for who we vote for, and ashamed of this party or that party or this person or that person just because, they have a different belief, or a belief that you don't agree with, or a belief that they think is extreme. When in reality, if they actually looked at it, it's actually not extreme, not ridiculous as they make it seem. And I just wanted to cover a few of the things that they, both of them, have kind of talked about in regards to their, extreme bias against American politics. Like, don't get me wrong, it's okay to pay attention what's going on in the world. Not denying that. But I think sometimes these two friends, again, no offense to them, I think they pay too much attention to American politics rather than their own country and its politics. And that's a contributing factor on, I think if they paid more attention to their own country first, I think they could probably actually help their own country become stronger. Then they can worry about what's happening with everyone else. But let's talk about like three of the main issues. three of the main issues that have been brought up, mostly by my Polish friend, my Canadian friend. Like, we've talked a bit in the server that we're in, and he's chill. My other friend's also chill, but not as chill as this Canadian friend. Again, no offense. I'm not trying to throw any shade. I have mad respect for them regardless. But my Canadian friend at least understands, hey, agree to disagree. Which I'm cool with. I don't care if someone's right or left or whatever have you. I'm chill with that. If we don't agree, like, that's fine. That's not, the goal is not to try to convert someone. The goal is to express, hey, this is my opinion and this is why. And then have a peaceful conversation, hey, I think I disagree with you. I don't agree with you. I don't think you're correct on this. Here's my thoughts on it. And, having a peaceful conversation of back and forth. My Polish friend, again, no offense to him, he has done a little bit of that, but he's kind of dived more into the mindset of, I'm right, you're wrong, shut up. Which my twin, he had that type of mindset for a while. And it annoyed me. It annoyed my parents because of how, cocky it was. Selfish it was. And it really is a dangerous idea to have, a dangerous mindset to have, because I think it can bring you to possible self-destruction. And so let's talk about the three topics. The three topics that my Polish friend brought up, that he's been like very adamant on, that he's been very, very biased on, has been, and let me clarify, I am going to be talking about Trump, I am going to be talking about Biden, Kamala. I am in no way left or right. I strictly uphold my values as an independent conservative, trying to be in the middle. My views are meant to cater to the independents, the conservatives, and the libertarians, and whatever of the combination of those three. That is the range that I am in. I am independent conservative. I am strictly within that range. I am not left-leaning. I am not right-leaning. So, I'm not kissing anyone's ass. So the three issues, smack me in the face, is Trump on LGBT, Trump, let's see, what was it? Trump on LGBT, Trump on the border, and then in regards to Trump on foreign relations, including the United States being a part of NATO, UN, United Nations. One of those two. I think it's United Nations. No, is it NATO? Point is, this friend had a lot of concerns with Trump's take on LGBT, Trump's take on the border, and Trump saying that he's wanting the United States to leave. I think it is NATO. Correct me if I'm wrong. I think it's NATO, not United Nations. So without further ado, let's get into that. Starting with LGBT. So, my biggest source when it comes to a lot of things, politics, is a YouTuber named Amir Odom. I actually have three sources. In, I would say, no particular order. It's Amir Odom. He is a black gay conservative. Why is that relevant? Well, because he is gay and because he's black, he's able to understand where people are coming from, but also debunk the BS that you hear from all the identity politics that takes place on both sides. He's probably the best source, one of the best sources I have. He's probably the most conservative source. He's maybe ever so slightly right-leaning, but it's like practically non-existent. It's like me, for example. Maybe if you want to put me in a scale, I'm maybe ever so slightly right-leaning, but it's not enough to really count. So we got Amir Odom, we got my dad and my uncle. They're probably some of the most patriotic men in my life. They're not, I don't think they're as patriotic as me. I'm not saying that to like boast or be cocky, but My dad and my uncle. My dad, he's just a very smart man. My uncle, he teaches history. Um, he teaches history classes in Alabama at a school that will remain unnamed. And so he has a really, really, really good idea behind politics. He honestly knows more than my dad, but usually when I ask my dad questions, and I ask my uncle something, you sometimes like he'll say, "Hey, ask your uncle." "Hey, ask your father." Or sometimes maybe they'll have slightly different answers. Sometimes they'll have the same. Either way, they are probably the best sources. And then at number 3, I would say is probably, I want to say Charlie Kirk. I know a lot of people don't like him because of, oh, he's a right winger. Well, again, he is probably more right. He's probably more right leaning than the other 3 people that I've named. My dad, my uncle, and Amir Odom. But he's a part of the top 3 for a reason. He's the most fair. So let's talk about LGBT. So the claim that my friend made is, oh, Trump wants to, he threatens the LGBT. He wants to kill us. He wants to suppress us. He wants to make our lives miserable. He doesn't want us to succeed. Blah blah blah. I'm not gonna I'm trying to be respectful. And it's like I've heard it over and over again. As an independent conservative, I'd argue it's probably a bit more annoying to deal with. Granted, though, I have a lot more tolerance than a lot of people on the left and right because I'm in that middle ground. I have a better understanding, I think. Again, I'm not trying to be cocky, but I think I have a better understanding of what's going on when it comes to stuff like this. And simply, this claim by my friend from Poland is not true. He talks about how Trump hates LGBT. He hates them. He wants us killed. A lot of people have made threats about how the orange man just wants to hang us and blah blah blah. That's not true. Is he Christian? Yes, Trump is Christian. He's a very passionate Christian. Is he the Christian Zionist extremist, or however the hell they're saying it nowadays? That, is he some, Christian supremacist or white supremacist or whatever? No. Here's the thing. As Amir Odom has explained in regards to Trump and his take on LGBT, how can the man be a bigot? And how can the man hate the LGBT when he literally hosted a wedding, a gay wedding, at his house? On top of that, people said, oh, well, he's going to screw over the transgender community. Don't get me wrong. There are Republicans out there who are very, 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 very anti-LGBT, and they want nothing to do with the LGBT, and they're like the most extremist of the extremes, and they want nothing but horrible things for the LGBT. Those people exist, but they are few compared to all the other Republicans that exist. Of all the other Republicans, the ones that are actual extremists that hate the LGBT and want them to be completely wiped off the earth is like 1% compared to the rest of the Republicans who, okay, probably not 1%, but maybe at most 10%, no more than that. All the other Republicans, they could care less. Either they don't care at all, or they're kind of like, look, you live your life, I'll live my life, we're cool. And that's kind of Trump's take. The only thing Trump cares about in regards to LGBT matters is when children are involved, which is why he is against in regards to transgender treatment. He's against minors getting transgender treatment. And that's I like that. I'm fine with that. He doesn't want children getting transition treatment. Because what you have is, you have people on the left who are saying that minors should be able to get this treatment. they should be, the problem is you have these people on the left who are saying that minors should be able to get this treatment whenever they want. It's their choice. The parents just have to basically sign that. But in some cases, the problem is a lot of these leftists are encouraging children to go behind their parents' backs to do things that may be against their personal or religious or cultural beliefs, which is wrong. This is why Trump has such a big issue in regards to the leftists encouraging transition surgery, encouraging grooming in schools, teachers encouraging students to go behind their parents' backs. It's okay to be gay, it's okay to be bi, it's okay to change your gender, it's okay to get this surgery, blah blah blah. Trump's against that because it involves children. Anything that involves children in regards to LGBT, he's against. So he doesn't want minors getting transition surgery, and he doesn't want minors being groomed in schools when they should be focusing on their actual studies. And that's kind of the only, if you're gay or trans or bisexual or you're polygamous or whatever have you, he doesn't care. As long as you're not doing things that is grooming and hurting kids and encouraging terrible mindsets with kids, he doesn't care. Now, in regards to the border, this is a bit of a confusing one because my friend, both from Canada and from Poland, have complained about this, about how Trump's racist, he's a fascist, he hates immigration, he doesn't want you to move here, he wants it to be super nationalist, blah blah blah. Again, no, as explained by Amir Odom, and some information from my uncle and my father also, is no, he doesn't care if you migrate here legally. But I think the problem is my friend from Canada and Poland confuse legal with illegal. According to federal law, illegal migration is basically when you come into this country without really any intent. You come here with no paperwork to show, the country you belong to. You don't have an ID. You don't have money. You have no real plan. And you don't have a background check done on you before you enter the country. When you're here illegally, you just walk through the border without any of that. That's illegal. And the thing that I despise is when people say that they should be able to do that. No. Because federally, according to federal law, if those people are not supposed to be here, I'm not going to feel sorry for them if they get deported. Because according to federal law, they're not supposed to be here. So, they're not supposed to be here. So therefore, I don't care if they get deported because they're not supposed to be here in the first place. And, there was a lot of talk about also, some of the laws that were passed and blah, blah, blah. The Republicans shot down this one and blah, blah, blah. And again, I could be wrong on this, but when I looked into the supposed law that was, or House bill or whatever that was shot down, federal law that was shot down, from what I could see, it was not really a border bill to say. And the problem is with a lot of these bills is people say, oh, well, Kamala passed a bill that, was on immigration and, blah, 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 and it was great. Well, to that one, all that Kamala and Biden did was basically change it to where, point of entry. They basically made it to where if you pass the border, if you pass from the Mexican United States border from Mexico to the United States, not from a security checkpoint, you could be deported. Which sounds great on paper, but you forget the other part being people can still get in here illegally. It's still the same, seeking asylum BS. You go to a border checkpoint, you say, I'm seeking asylum, and you're just let in. You don't need papers, you don't need money, you don't need a background check. You don't need a plan. Just you seek asylum, you're here legally. Congratulations, you're in the country now. And that's a problem. And in regards to the other bill, from what I saw from it, it's only a border bill in name. In actual action, what it wants to do, again, I could be wrong about this one, but from what I saw from several sources, from talking to my uncle, from talking to my dad, from looking into Amir Odom's videos, and from doing my own research, it seems that there's one bill that was shot down because it was only a border bill in name, because what it wanted to do was continue funding for illegal migrants and to send money from Ukraine. None of it really having to do with actual border security. And it's especially proving the point that on illegal migrants that it's a problem. Because the problem you have is citizenship is being treated like candy. It shouldn't be treated like candy. It should be treated like it's, important. Because it is important. It's important. In a way, it's sacred. It is an important thing. But when you take away that sacredness of it, it's just like everything else in this world. It doesn't have any real meaning. So when you have all this, naturalization of citizens, if you're not from the States but you're born in the States, you're a United States citizen, which Trump wants to get rid of, which I'm okay with. Or like, you have people who are wanting to speed up the process of citizenship. The problem that's going to cause unfair results at the polls for voting. Not to mention the fact that with all the immigrants that are being, housed in hotels, being given cars, being given like thousands upon thousands of dollars in food stamps, as with Americans are getting like 20 something, 50 something, less than $100 in food stamps. Immigrants are getting a few hundred to a few thousand. All of that is going to add up, and it's going to screw over our economy more. It's going to make our economy worse. So, no, Trump's not racist. He just wants to make sure our border is secure. And if that means deporting people who are legally not supposed to be here, I'm not going to feel bad for it. If those people want to come here legally, get in line like everyone else. I agree with him, though, that I am sick and tired of these politicians on the left who think that, these people can just be cut in line, allowed to cut in line, to get citizenship before people who have been waiting here for longer, who've been working hard, that these people should be able to cut in line, get citizenship, and just be given things according to what's provided by the government. That's not okay. As a matter of fact, it's insulting to the legal migrants. It is a slap to their face when they're cut in line by an illegal migrant because the federal government says these people are more important than you. They get priority. When you've been working your butt off, these illegal migrants have done nothing to provide for society. They have not done anything to pull their weight. Yet you, someone who migrated here legally, you busted your butt for like a year or so, let's say, working to get your citizenship. And now you're being slapped in the face by the federal government who is allowing these illegal migrants to cut in front of you. It's an insult, and it's just wrong. And it's just terrible. And a small side note in regards to like human rights, as his friend put it. He also had a complaint about like women's rights. Like, oh, Trump wants to put in a federal abortion ban. No, he doesn't. He's actually said that he will do everything in his power to veto any attempt at a national abortion ban. Because there's only a few options on why abortion should be legal. Because if you're so stupid that you don't wear protection and you end up getting pregnant, you have two options. Either put the child up for adoption or suck it up and be a parent. You shouldn't be able to kill a child just because you're stupid, you don't wear protection, and you think it's okay to just Oh, well, I'm an idiot. I didn't wear protection. Well, that's why I can spend a few hundred, a few $1,000s to get this child aborted, and then I can have unprotected sex all I want, over and over and over again. I can just keep aborting the child. Like, how irresponsible is that? That's just ridiculous. I don't want to say too much on that topic because it's a tricky topic to talk about. But let's get to sort of the final thing I want to focus on, and then maybe some final thoughts. And that is foreign relations. My friend has complained about how I have every right to complain because he's going to affect foreign relations. I should have everything to say when it comes to your leader who's going to threaten me as a bisexual dude, but someone who wants to discriminate against the LGBT community, which again I've already said he has nothing against the LGBT community. Comments such as that. He said. And the thing is, Trump doesn't want to do anything about the LGBT. As long as you're not hurting children, he doesn't care. But in regards to foreign relations, he wants to get work done. If my friend is so worried that, he's going to do this, and this, maybe you should think, okay, what is it he's actually wanting to do, and what is it he's done since his previous campaign from 2016 to 2020. What is it that he did that you hate so much that he did such a good job on that it actually helped foreign relations between the United States and several countries? Russia, China, North Korea. Probably the top three people we have to worry about. The top three countries we have to worry about constantly. And when Trump was in power, when he was president of the United States, the relations between those three nations was good. It was amazing. It was the most peaceful time with those three nations than we have ever in the history of the United States. Is the best relations we've had with Canada, China, and North Korea. And he did a good job about it. And he did a good job about keeping it. He even did a good job in regards to the Middle East. He did good on foreign relations there because one time he was with the leader of who was it? Iraq? No. I don't know. Some person from the Middle East. And he said, look, you hurting my soldiers. And he handed him a picture of, I'm going to retaliate. And he handed him a picture of his house. And he told the translator to tell him. Or no, he told the person, you hurt a hair on a soldier, American soldier's head. And it'll be hell to pay. And he told the translator to tell him. And so the translator took out a picture of this leader's house and showed it to him. And the leader looked at Trump and just nodded because he understood immediately that Trump was not playing. Whether you like the dude or not. But again, I'll get into that in my final thoughts. My friend has had concerns about Trump wanting to pull the United States from NATO, and I think that's the main thing I want to focus on when it comes to foreign relations. My friend complaining about foreign relations. He says, if America pulls out of NATO, we're going to be under threat from Russia and China, and we're going to get taken over, or, he's going to cause relations to be worse, and blah, blah, blah. But here's the thing. If you actually look into why Trump has even thought about bringing this up, I found a clip that I don't know if it's from his campaign from 2016 to 2020 or if this is a recent video that was released since he's setting up to talk with the folks who were part of NATO, all the other countries that are part of it, to kind of discuss things. I don't know if he's preparing for the relations of the United States with NATO, but what Trump said was that he felt that it was wrong that the American taxpayers we're basically being screwed over by the fact that the United States and like 2 or 3 other nations were the ones footing the bill for the national defense budget. Out of like 50 something odd, out of all the other nations, of the other like 50 plus, 60 plus, however many it was, nations, only like 3 to 5 were pulling their weight for the budget. And he said that that was unfair for the American taxpayers. And that makes sense. I think it makes sense, and I think it's an okay retaliation. We are paying for the foot the bill. You have all these other nations who are not. So why should we stay a part of an organization that is just taking advantage of our money when they don't plan to help participate in providing for that part of the budget? So I think that is a fair excuse for retaliation, and I'm fine with that. As regards to Trump and other countries, well, again, people want to talk about like, oh, what about this issue, that issue. Most likely, if you look up Amir Odom's channel, if you look up Charlie Kirk, PragurU, which I understand a lot of people think is propaganda. Don't get me wrong, they're right. They're definitely right-wing biased, but I don't think they're as bad as people claim. You can find sources there that can prove the evidence. And it's fairly accurate. It's very, very accurate. And it's fair. And so you can trust it. I think you can trust it. Now, as to final thoughts, let me make something very clear. In regards to people voting for Trump in general, and this is the other thing I want to focus on, because when I was talking to my friend, it got to the point where I had enough of talking with my friend about politics, because he was going about how I think you're wrong about, or no, he didn't say I think, he said you're wrong about, blah 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 and politics, blah blah blah, but I still love you, bro. And it's like, okay, hold on, time out. If you want to say I think you're wrong about this, that's fine. That's kind of the thing that I expect as an independent conservative. But when you say you're wrong about this, but I still love you, bro, that does not give me confidence. It tells me you're being cocky. It tells me you're being selfish. You're being foolish. I'm saying that with the most respect to this person if they're watching this video. And let me make something very clear. Is Trump a good person? No. He's not a good person. I don't think he's a good president. But compared to the options that we were given, he was better than Biden, and he was better than Kamala. Not because he's Republican, not just because, I think he's better. No, again, I'm not saying I voted for him. Because, there were, 2 other parties that you could have voted for. I think one of them was Libertarian, one of them was the Independent Party. So, of the 3 I could have voted for, it was Trump, the Independents, and the Libertarian Party. Or was it the Green Party? Well, if it was the Green Party, then it was just 2. But point is, because here's the thing. I don't like Trump. I don't like Kamala. But why should one person be not allowed to be voted for just because, I think my morals are more important? No, they're not. Think what you want. You're entitled to do that. You're allowed to do that. But if you're not a part of the states, I don't care. I care. It's like I care, but I don't care with the most respect possible. Because the problem I have is the amount of people who believe that if you vote for Trump, you're a fascist, you're a racist, you're a terrible person, you have terrible judgment, blah, blah, blah. The list can go on and on and on. I'm not going to list everything. Like, and again, people didn't vote for him because he was a good person. I know someone from my church. He's from American Samoa. Samoa? Yeah, Samoa. I thought it was Tonga. I was like, no, not Tonga. He's from American Samoa. This man is the most kindest man ever. I've known him for probably, 3-5 years in my church. This man is kind. He's a giant teddy bear. I mean, he's a big dude. He's a Samoan, so he's a big dude, but he's a teddy bear. He is the kindest man ever. And he did post a picture of him wearing a MAGA hat. And he gave sort of his personal thoughts on things, and how we shouldn't let things get too carried away. And he also gave a spiritual message about his passion as a Christian. This dude is the kindest man in the world. And you're trying to tell me, as this friend from Poland, and this friend from Canada, and some of these friends from Europe, these people not from the United States, these people are trying to tell me that the man that is a great friend of mine from my church, this man that is a literal human teddy bear, okay, not literal, but he is a human teddy bear. He's a teddy bear. You're telling me he's a fascist, he is a racist, he's a terrible person, he cannot be trusted, he should be deported, or blah blah, whatever insult you want to put on him. He is that, or terrible things should happen to him because, heaven forbid, he voted for someone. He enacted on his God-given right to vote, and he did so. And you want to shame me, and you want to shame him, because we didn't vote for the person that you wanted? Last I checked, this is America. I live in the United States of America. Are you a part of the States? If the answer to that is no, you need to shut up. Again, I say that with the most respect. But you cannot shame me. You cannot shame my friend just because we voted how you wouldn't have voted. Because when it comes to the United States and its political system, it's not perfect. But it sure as hell is unique. There's a reason why the American political system, while not perfect, it's not terrible, why it is so beautiful and such a unique system. All other nations broke off at some way, shape, or form from the British Empire. Canada, Australia, etc. They broke off from the British Empire. But did they change how they did things? Not by much. The problem I have is a lot of nations broke away from these empires. They said, we don't want to be a part of the empire anymore. All they did was separate from the empire. All they did was separate from the empire and just be just like the empire. They changed a few things, but there's not much difference between breaking off the thing that broke off and the actual empire. Why? Because they look at the empire and they're like, we don't like what you're doing, so let's do it ourselves on a more local, smaller scale. And that's my thoughts on regards to the problem I have with other countries that have broken off from the British Empire and from several other empires over history. America is unique because we looked at the United Kingdom over here. The United Kingdom, let's say, this is the United Kingdom. America's over here. Let's say this is the coast, the eastern coast. We broke off from the United Kingdom because, as according to, actually I have it, it's hanging on my wall. I have two of these little booklets. Because, as explained in the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution of the United States of America. This explains the problems that the colonists had with the British Empire. The British Empire screwed the colonists, and they listed all these problems, and it was brutal. I read through it some. I haven't finished it completely, but when you read through it, it's brutal because it's true. The people were fed up with a tyrannical government, so they broke off from the tyrannical government, but instead of basically copying it like every other nation has, we created a new system, and that is what got us this. This then got us to where we are now. This is what allows us, the Americans here, me as an American and several other people, my friends and family, that is what allows us to be free. That's what's made it so important when it comes to a lot of the rights that we have in regards to constitutional amendments. Is it perfect? No. But it sure as hell's a lot better than a lot of the crap that you see in the United Kingdom, in Canada, in Australia, in a lot of countries in Europe, a lot of countries in Africa, a lot of countries in South America, blah, 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 blah. So, when it comes to politics, no one has the right to shame me. If you're within the States, you have a bit more of a right. I'm not saying you can't. You can shame me if you want if you're from the States. But just know, you can't shame me just because I have a different opinion. You can't. You want to voice disagreement? That's fine. But you cannot shame me just because I voice a different opinion than you. These people who are not from the States are shaming me, my friends, my family, calling them names, all because they voted how they wouldn't have. They would have rather voted for Kamala. But because my friends and family didn't vote for Kamala, because they voted for Trump, some voted for the Independents, some voted for the Green Party, some voted for some of the other parties, because some of these people didn't vote for Kamala, shame on you. They're saying to people like me and my friends, shame on you. You're a terrible person, you're a racist, you're a fascist. And those people who are not from the States, they can be farther from the truth. We're not racists. We're not fascists. Are some people? Yes. No lie. I'm not going to lie about that. Are there some people who voted for Trump who are racist and fascists and terrible people? Yes. But is that majority of the people who are Republican or voted Trump or didn't vote for Kamala and Tim Walz? No. Matter of fact, I think more people voted Trump because, let's be real here, Biden did not do a good job. That is why the American people have spoken. That's why it's the American people have spoken. They want Trump, not the American people and some people from Canada, some people from Europe, and because some of these people from Australia said, we want Kamala. If you're not from the States, you have nothing to do with this. The American people spoke, not the American people and the folk from Canada, United Kingdom, Europe, Africa, China, Australia, Mexico, South America. No, it's the American people have spoken. The American people have spoken, and 60% of the states have spoken and said that they want Trump, not Kamala Harris, because she was way, way too similar to Biden and his policies, and people had enough. People looked at Biden's policies and they said, this is not what he promised, so we're gonna have to vote differently, and they did. That's why that is why Trump won the swing states. That's why he won basically every office, is because the people had enough of Biden, because he made promises and he didn't fulfill any of those promises. Matter of fact, he made the country worse rather than better, because he played identity politics, he played games, and because he won stupid games, he won stupid prizes. I'm not saying this to kiss Trump's ass, but There's a reason things happen. We vote. The American people voted, and we got our answer. And if you're not from the States, you can't complain. You can't. You can't complain. You cannot shame me. You can't tell me how terrible a person I am, or, oh, you haven't played. Maybe I haven't played, but the chances are I haven't been played. You're just talking shit. You're talking shit from a perspective that is biased, and you don't know what we actually need in this country. The American people do. I voted in my election in my country because I know what we need in this nation. And to all you who are not from America who are complaining about this, guess what? You didn't vote here. So you cannot complain that Trump won the election. You cannot complain that he's going to be inaugurated January 20th, 2025. You cannot complain. So please do me a favor and just shut up. Pay attention to your own country. Then pay attention to what's happening in the world. Because I'm pretty sure if you pay attention to your country first and helped it get back on its feet, then you'd have a better understanding of politics of other nations. But you need to focus on your country first. Now, I'm not saying you should get caught up in another country's politics. It's okay to pay attention to what's happening in other countries, but you cannot get deeply involved. You can understand what's happening, but you cannot get involved. You cannot you don't have much opinion to voice in regards to what's happening there. You can just look at it and be like, okay, I see what's happening. I don't agree with it, but that's all I can say because I'm not from that country. That's what you can do. Pay attention to your own country first. Then you can think about, okay, what's happening in this country? What's my thoughts on it? Basic thoughts, and that's it. You can't complain anymore. You can't say anymore. Do that. I've had this video on my mind for a while, and I hope if my friends are watching this, I just want you to understand, I love y'all, and I care for y'all, but don't need to mind your own damn business. I say that with the most respect. I seriously do say that with the most respect. Y'all talk the talk, but you don't walk the walk. Or you walk the walk, but don't talk the talk. I don't know what that phrase, the actual phrase, I don't remember it. You guys talk a big game, but you're not the players in the game. You're sitting in the stands. America and her people are playing a game. They're playing by the rules. You're not. You're sitting in the stands. You're watching. You can't tell the refs what to do. You can't tell the players what to do. You can't tell the coaches what to do. You cannot play in this game because you're not from the States, you don't live here, or you're not a citizen. So please, while I understand your concerns, do me a favor and just shush. You need to hush. You have no right to complain if you're not from the States. And I mean that with the most respect. Seriously, because I think some of y'all are too involved. You should be focusing on your own country, not other nations. And with that, I'm going to end this video, and hopefully I'll be able to post it, because it's reaching 50 minutes. Hopefully my Chromebook doesn't crap out. But yeah. I hope this video can be educational, and I hope people can understand all of this comes from respect. All of this comes with experience. All of this comes with that I have good sources. As an independent conservative, as a man, as a Christian, as a passionate American, I want to voice my honest to goodness opinion. I'm not going to lie to anyone. I'm not going to bullshit you. You want facts? I'll give you facts. And I just gave you facts. So please, if you want to fact check me, that's fine. Check some of the sources that I gave. Obviously, you can't check my dad and my uncle because I'm not going to give you their information. But you can check Amir Odom. You can check Charlie Kirk. And you can check PragurU University. Also, check out some of the more neutral news network pages. Those, we'll see, I think one's called All Sides. Not sponsored by any of these people, but check them out. Check out some of the more neutral faces. And if you're going to talk about politics, check All Sides. Don't be biased. have an actual understanding of what the hell's happening in your country, and strive to do better, and strive to be fair, strive to be honest, and strive to be a good person. Anyways, I'll catch y'all later. Bye.